Denim Wrapped Nightmares, what is happening? First of all, shout out and thank you for your support. And secondly, I want to tell the people about Public Domain, their next favorite adult animated sitcom that you're going to love more than any animated show you've ever seen before, because you've already seen these characters before. These characters exist in a world where they've passed up their copyright, and now they're free to use for me in the public domain, and we're going to do it, and we're going to voice them by a bunch of supernatural characters, and it's going to be your favorite show. Now, we need your help to make this show because we can't do it by ourselves, and the executives are sitting on their asses, so go to our Indiegogo campaign. You'll find it down here, over there, or up there. I'm not really sure. It will be somewhere. Check it out. Donate a little bit, donate a lot. We got some great Christmas perks, including a naughty Santa card of me that involves, well, naughty things. So check us out, support us if you can. If you can't support us, thanks. Share us, like us, subscribe us, all the things that make online campaigns successful so you can have the next greatest adult animated TV show.
Welcome to Denim Wrapped Nightmares, Tipsy Exchange podcast, where we explore the supernatural series, episode by episode.
Over drinks, we'll discuss the lore, the gore, and what we adore about the Winchesters and their adventures.
I'm Berly, and I'm a new fan of the series.
I'm LA, and I'm here along for the ride. Now let's get tipsy.
Hello, LA. Hello, Berly. This was one of my favorite episodes so far.
I think it's one of the funniest episodes so far. It was comedic. It was well acted yet again by both of our guys, Jensen and Jared.
All of our guys.
Yes. Okay, I forgot. Yeah, there's a new one in play. But yeah, no, it was good.
Before we get into it, though, let's do a quick reminder of where we were last episode.
Yes. So last episode we really liked as well
Mm-hmm.
because Jared was a badass in his acting.
On fire.
We realized in the beginning, like, Sam was missing. When we finally found him, he wasn't quite himself. And which I think it was we mentioned so many times, it was so well played that we were like, something's off at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came to a certain point when Sam found Joe that we're like, oh, that's not Sam. Like, definitely not Sam. We had learned he had knocked Dean out for not killing him, told him he would regret it. It was basically Sam was possessed by the demon that was Meg prior to this. He was hunting other hunters. So that's why he went after Sam to begin with, but he picked Sam to possess to go after these other hunters. He killed Steve Whalen, I believe. And Sam, supposedly who we thought was Sam, was so distraught he was a murderer. So his next victim is Joe. He uses her as bait after finding out that that's kind of what his dad did with her father when her father was killed, to bait Dean. And we do get the full story that John did use Bill as bait, but what happened was that this Hellspawn that
Whatever
they were trying to capture actually ended up attacking Bill so horribly that he was just clawed to pieces, barely alive. So John Mercy killed him. Dean comes in, Sam shoots him in the shoulder. Bobby comes along, realizes Sam's not himself, throws holy water on him. They try to do the devil's trap thing, but Sam's demon has put some lock on him, like a brand on his forearm, kind of basically trapping him inside of Sam. So he breaks the devil's trap as he's kind of torturing Dean and baiting him that he's a piece of crap. He's worthless. Couldn't have saved his dad. He knows deep down he'll never save his brother. And Bobby comes in, burns that symbol that's on Sam's arm, and the demon just escapes immediately. Bobby mentions later on about the murder of Scott Whalen, that we know that Sam actually did do earlier, but it was the demon. And Bobby knows that boys had something to do with it, and he's just like, keep it that way. Last is Sam mentions that he did remember some parts of the killing and being with the demon, which of course Sam is so dramatic about. But really, I mean, okay, you remember it. It doesn't mean that you consented to it and you were a party to it. You were there. You had no control. So
long story short, the demons are still a plotting something that has to do with Sam.
Definitely. Yeah.
We just don't know what that is.
Sorry if that was too long.
Also, we were both really disappointed whenever Meg got exorcised and the person Meg died. We got Dwayne next. We were like, no offense, Dwayne, but you're no Meg.
Right. I love the actress that played Meg.
I do.
So good.
And Dwayne, like, whatever. Dwayne was just Dwayne. Sassy Sam Winchester, to me, is an upgrade over Dwayne.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm interested to see, because it escaped. It didn't get exorcised. I'm interested to see what it's going to be next.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Dean? Is it going to be Bobby? Is it going to be somebody else? I'm looking forward to that.
No, not Bobby. Not Bobby.
No.
Don't you do that.
Not... All right. So let's dig into this episode. It's a gem.
Well, it's funny because last week we were like, this one's so different. It's so unlike any other episode. And then we go to this one and it's the same. Like,
it's so good.
This one's more comedic.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Loved it. We open up on a college campus and we're outside of a building we eventually found out is named Crawford Hall. Beautiful building.
Yeah, like stained glass windows.
Giant
you would see in a
stained glass window.
Church.
Yeah, it was gorgeous, gorgeous. And there's this suave elderly gentleman, I would say 40s, 50s-ish.
Yeah.
With a scarf and a coat and a suitcase going up to the building. And he looks over and there's this young woman with voluminous brown curly hair with her leg up on the like planter kind of thing outside the building, doing her shoe. And I totally thought of Chi-Chi from Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, when she was trying to get a car to stop hitchhiking on the side of the road. So it was a move that was being pulled.
Yeah, but I feel like I remember thinking her clothing didn't fit.
You yelled, "Woman in white, where are her feet?"
Well, that's all I saw. Because I saw woman in white, and then her feet, and then I was like, oh, she has nude heels on. That's why I didn't see where her feet were. But my main thing was her outfit did not match accordingly to like the time frame of what he was wearing. Like it seemed more old fashioned.
Seemed a little more old fashioned.
Yeah.
Definitely seemed way more formal for a college ed girl hanging out on campus.
Yeah, just trying to meet a professor late at night.
Yeah. Something was already kind of off if you were paying attention to the details. So she turns around and says, "Oh, I was hoping to talk to you." And he said, "Oh, my office hours are different from this." She's like, "Oh, I wanted to talk to you now, Professor." And he said, "Oh, well, we can make an arrangement because you're being so nice about it." So already smarmy.
Creepy, yeah.
Creepy, not nice. Takes her up to his office, and she's looking at a book. And being humble, he talks about how he knows that he's quite the celebrity on campus, and she must be so excited to be talking with him, and he gets it, because it turns out she's not actually one of his students. So they start making out after he makes a speech about how he couldn't possibly take advantage of her.
Oh, and I loved that it was so rich. He was like, I just respect you so much. Which I'm like, oh, she's a fucking stranger who came up looking the way she does into your office, late hours, like gushing over your book. And, oh, I just respect you so much.
And he even was like, "Oh, you're so young and wide-eyed." I mean, it's just a creepy, gag-inducing all-around situation. So as he's making out with her, her face starts to kind of decay and wither. And kudos to the makeup department.
Yes.
Because with her eyes, the makeup, everything, she looks like this almost zombified thing. Really well done. I enjoyed the makeup. We haven't seen makeup that clearly in a shot, I don't feel like, very often in the Supernatural series. And it was done really well.
Yeah, the transition was done really well too.
I agree.
So like just seeing the little bits while they were kissing and then her full face.
Yes. The professor flips his shit and she says, "What? You don't like me anymore?" And we cut to outside Crawford Hall, and there is a key in the door. As this handsome, mysterious little jumpsuit stranger is walking away from the door, all of a sudden we see a body fall behind him, and it's creepy professor. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have like the supernatural. Then we cut to the guys, Sam and Dean, in a motel. And Dean is being fucking nasty, chewing as loudly as he possibly can.
Yeah, he was like off screen and I was like, what is happening? He's either like, I was like, is he making out with somebody or is he just like, what's the word?
Jerking it?
No. Like when you're slacking your jaws or like with gum.
I don't know what that has a name. I didn't know that had a name.
No, it does. I can't think of it right now, but I was just like, I could not. It was something. That's all you heard, something like that, and I was like, somebody's making out or somebody's eating.
He was like moaning with it too.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I was like, oh, does he have a girl over there? Like, what is happening? But that was not the case.
Sam is obviously agitated with Dean. As they're bickering back and forth, it's obvious Dean is pissed off with Sam as well.
Tension.
They're mentioning briefly things about, Dean asking, how's the research going? And Sam going, oh, it's going slow. I'd be doing a lot better with my fucking computer. And saying something about Dean getting out of here and Dean being like, oh yeah, I'd love to get out of here if I could with my fucking car. So something's up with the computer in the car. We don't really know what. And then there's a knock at the door. It's Bobby. And LA was so happy to get Bobby 2 episodes in a row.
I was.
We also noticed while they were getting the door, answering, and Bobby coming in and everything, that there were pizza boxes fucking everywhere.
The whole place is a mess.
Place
really.
is trashed.
Like food remnants everywhere.
We figured out, okay, they've been here for a while, whatever is going on. So what follows made a lot of sense. They're telling Bobby, we've been here for a while. We've been researching this case, working this case, and we're stuck. We are coming in to the story in the middle of it. And now they're going to tell us what's happened up until this point. I like the way they did it this time, where it's a narrative of Dean and Sam telling Bobby what's happened so far. When we've had episodes like this with Supernatural in the past, it started somewhere and then done these cutbacks. Not only did we have it where it's a narrative that Bobby was being told the story, but we got the different perspectives.
That is what made the episode. Like the different views of the two of them of each other is hilarious.
It was fun. It was clever. Loved it. It starts with them talking about how they were starting at a bar. There was this professor. It seemed weird, whatever. We're at the bar. We're researching it. And it starts with Sam's perspective. So he's talking to 2 students. One of them starts talking about how Crawford Hall is supposedly haunted, that there was a professor who used to have a bunch of affairs with students, and one of the students actually took her own life in the building in room 669. And it just urban legend ghost story thing going on here with Sam talking to these 2 students. And then he goes to the bar. It shows Dean doing 3 shots in a row. And we thought it was Jaeger at first.
It was like black. It was dark.
But it turned out it was purple nurples.
Which appropriate too for the color, yeah. Which actually
I haven't heard that name in so long.
I feel in a way I felt better that it was purple nurples than 3 shots of Jaeger, because he'd be like out.
I can't even
soon.
smell Jaeger anymore, man.
Ugh.
Like just all right. So for those of you who don't know, a purple nurple is 1 ounce Malibu, 1 ounce triple sec, 1 ounce blue Curaçao liquor. Did I say that right?
Yeah. It's either Curaçao or Curacao. I can never know.
And then 2 ounces cranberry juice.
Ooh, it's the rum for me. The worst hangover I probably ever had, well, one of the many, was rum.
One of the worst I ever had was champagne.
Oh, no. Champagne's like liquid. It's like flavored water to me at this point. It's terrible.
It just gives me headaches. I don't know why.
Oh, well, you know what? So many people tell me that. My dad said his worst hangover was champagne, that he was just puking the next day.
It did make me puke, but it did give me such a bad headache that I literally couldn't function.
Well, and I've heard it's like it's perfume going in, poison going out, but not for me. Not for me most of the time. Anyway, I guess I should say. I think if I mixed it, it probably wouldn't be good.
No.
With other things.
So we're still getting the story from Sam's perspective. So he walks up to the bar, sees Dean doing the shots, and there's this cute little blonde behind him that has on fishnet stockings with a cut-off denim skirt. And she turns around and she's giggling. Dean is introducing her, and then she vomits in her mouth and swallows it.
She did really well. I I have to give it to her.
I liked the actress. She sold it. She went all in.
Yeah.
And she just smiled and was like, just trying to keep my liquor down. And Sam was just appalled. And then it cuts over with a voiceover of Dean being like, it didn't happen like that. And of course, Dean's version, the girl was this sleek, sophisticated woman in a black dress.
Past the knees.
Yes, black tights, black pumps, who just couldn't keep herself from commenting on how attractive Dean was. She said something along the lines of, it's like looking into the sun.
Oh my God. I think I wrote something about that. What did I say? Hold on. Oh, yeah, that was the thing. She was like, it's just so hard to concentrate. She like put her hand on the side of his face, and she was like, it's just like looking into the sun. I mean, just mesmerized by Dean.
And Sam interrupts them like, Dean, what are you doing? And the facial expression that Jared Padalecki made here with the pursed lips and everything, talking about going all in on the performance.
He was like a total mom.
Yeah.
And I feel like he just looked and sounded and seemed like a mom.
And as Sam's talking, it eventually blends into blah, 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 blah.
It was so good.
It was so great. It was entertaining. We cut back to the motel room where Sam is interjecting with Dean now, being like, that's not what I sound like. And Bobby keeps trying to get them on track to tell him what's going on, like quick bickering and making fun of each other.
Be accurate in what he said, because I made you rewind it. Bobby literally said, you sound like you're bickering married couple. And I was like, wait a minute, rewind that to make sure he said what I thought he said, because that's exactly what I keep saying. They're a couple in love. Even though they're brothers, they are the way they behave in their conversations, they're a couple in love.
Like, we're not Winchesters shippers, but
no.
Still.
I don't want that. But they're just the intensity of their conversations and the emotion of it all. I just like I told you, I'm like, I would never have that with my sibling. Like, I mean, maybe if we were in these high stakes situations, I don't know, but it's just very
codependent,
seductive.
Oh,
no, that may not be the right word. Like, it's just, to me, it's not sibling like.
The intimacy level is different.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Seductive's not right. It's just the intensity. Intimacy, the intensity, it's just on another level of siblings that I at least have seen or know of.
I'm so excited that you're this tipsy, because I actually wrote
Whoa.
I wrote a tongue twister that I want to try to get you to say in a little bit.
You? I'm fine.
I don't know that I'm even going to be able to tell you the tongue twister that I wrote, because I'm fine, but I'm not like fine. Anyway, so Bobby gets them back on track, and they tell Bobby that they went to Crawford Hall to go check things out. We see them walking into the professor's office. They are being led in by the mysterious stranger we saw near the beginning of the episode. This character's name for the vast majority of the episode is Janitor. The janitor outfit was on point. To whoever in wardrobe decided we needed to have a belt, thank you.
Yeah, you were into it.
I was into it. That taut little waist when they walked into the office, I liked it a lot. Janitor is telling them about the professor and that he wasn't such a nice guy. They asked if he had seen the professor go up to his office with this mysterious woman in question. He said, no, but I've seen him come up here with plenty of other people. Direct quote, he gets more ass than a toilet seat.
Right. Well, did you mention he called him Mr. Morality? Because like that was something about his book.
His book. Yeah.
That's again, rich.
Mm-hmm.
But another reason, since this is coming from Sam's point of view, they had some sort of snack thing in that.
I think it was like brittle or something. I couldn't tell what it was.
I was like that or like a chip. I don't know. I couldn't tell
like,
what it was.
Yeah.
But in Sam's mind, Dean was just chowing the fuck down on these snacks that were just in this random apartment. I mean, his
looked like a squirrel with his cheeks full.
Squirrel, chickmunks. I mean, it was, he didn't even look like himself. How filled his cheeks were with these snacks. And that you could tell Sam was just like disgusted with him. And it was just, again, so funny from their different points of view what went on. And it was just too funny.
They also showed a shot of Janitor laughing at Dean.
Yeah.
Which I think that shot was purely just to be like, oh my God, look how fucking adorable this janitor is as he's giggling at Dean being all silly.
I feel like that's
What else was the purpose of the shot, LA?
to acknowledge how ridiculous he looked stuffing his face.
No.
You just want to believe he was just like, oh, that adorable janitor.
Oh my God, he's just adorable. That's what we were supposed to do. That was the purpose of the shot.
All right, we disagree on this. It's fine.
I was about to say.
I was going to say, I don't disagree. He could be adorable. He's just.
You just don't think he's adorable as I think he is.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Which, I mean, kudos. I'm excited.
Like, if I was to be like, oh my God, we're going to fight over him, you'd be like, no, you could have him.
Right, yeah.
But if he asked for your number, you wouldn't say no necessarily.
Right, I'd be like, well, you should probably give your number to my girl. That's what I would do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because I'm a good friend.
Yeah. Like, I just mentioned the shipper thing, and we talked about how we ship ourselves with the fictional characters.
Yeah.
So you still just have 2 ships.
Right. Yeah.
You don't ship
so far. Yeah.
You don't ship yourself with Bobby.
I mean, I would ship myself to be friends with Bobby, like BFFs,
Okay.
best friends forever.
But I have 3 ships now. Why are
Dean, Sam, and
Janitor?
Oh, janitor. Okay. All right. I'm just still Dean, Sam, and Daddy.
Oh, that's right. So you are 3.
I can't forget about Daddy.
See, I don't ship myself with Daddy.
I mean, not Daddy's character, but the guy who plays Daddy.
You ship yourself with a real life person, Jeffrey Dean
Okay,
Morgan.
so maybe we should say that. Yeah, no. Because Daddy's not a great guy. So no. I'm still just the 2. Dean and
You're
Sam.
the 2. Okay.
Dean and Sam.
Okay.
Yeah. But hey, kudos to Jeffrey Dean Morgan's wife. I forget her name, and I shouldn't. I apologize because I love her. I've seen a lot of stuff she's
most of these
advocated
guys'
for, and I
wives
really
are
like her.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like kudos,
and she's an actress
ladies.
too, and stuff. She was on One Tree Hill. God damn it, I regret not knowing her name, but I do like her. I've seen her advocate for really good stuff, and I like her.
Same thing with Ackles and Padalecki and all of them.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
good. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Get back to your.
We love you, ladies. We respect you, ladies.
Oh my
And
God, yes.
We hope you don't mind that we objectify and sexualize your husbands
and
for
kudos,
a hobby.
You have fabulous husbands.
Yeah. Let us know if you ever want a Chinese chair.
A what? A what? A Chinese chair? I'll be a part of a throuple.
That's a Chinese chair.
Also, honestly, Leo, like if you think about it, like what about a throuple at like commitment?
We're in Dallas.
If
We
you
aren't
just-
anywhere near you.
You just need me to come by
tag us-
sometime and let's just hang out and
Tag
do some
us
things.
in. Tag us in.
Yeah.
And you don't just have to tag us in with them. I'm fun. I can hang out with a woman. I'm a good time.
That's what I meant.
Oh.
I'm saying like to the wives, like, hey, I could be a throuple. Like, we
Yeah.
could all still have a good time. I'm not gonna like, no offense, I won't go down on you.
I wouldn't necessarily say no to you going down on me, though.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right?
Right.
Like, I don't know that I could return the favor.
Chelsea Handler's talked about that. She's like,
Yeah.
I've done that. It's fine, but it's like, oh, it was great, but like, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to do that.
Return
to you.
the favor. I
That's
have no interest in that.
and that's the thing I like about
Some people are just
Mm-mm.
givers, though. I
But go to town,
right? Yeah. God.
Terrible. But I mean,
Tie me up Winchester style.
Oh,
Have some
yeah.
fun.
yeah,
But I hope that a thank you will be a sufficient return.
right.
You
Like,
know?
good job. Thank
Yeah.
you. You were great.
Where's your husband?
Also, I'm ready for that now. Thank you.
Send the janitor in.
I guess that's not the ideal throuple.
Send in the janitor.
No, I don't
we
want the
gotta
janitor.
clean up on aisle me.
Oh my God. No. Okay, you need to cut all of that out. That's
no
terrible.
way. Okay, so we got Sam's version of the story from Dean and him talking with janitor. We're still getting the story from Sam's perspective. We're back in the motel room. They're talking about everything, trying to figure shit out. They were thinking it was a ghost because of the ghost story they got at the bar, but there wasn't any EMF. They aren't really sure where to go from here. Sam pulls out his laptop to do some research and immediately gets pissed because it's frozen on a porn site. He asked Dean.
With his busty Asians.
BustyAsianBeauties.com.
Yeah.
And he asks Dean about it. And when he says the site name, Dean just kind of makes a face like maybe he wasn't sure that he didn't do it. And leaves the room. So Sam is pissed because his laptop is fucked now.
I will say, though, he can't get too mad because Dean walked in on him looking at some porn on his own laptop prior to this.
It was a TV.
No, it was. I thought it was his
when they were in the
laptop.
motel room. Because remember, Sam was sitting at the edge of the bed all awkwardly, and you didn't like how Sam was sitting.
You're right.
You were like, he looks like he's watching football.
Okay, well, even then, Sam, don't shame your brother. Yeah, you had to borrow your laptop, but like, fuck, like, you boys are on the road all the time, just the two of you. I mean, come on.
Bobby is asking them questions, trying to get more information because they keep interrupting their story to bicker at each other. So Bobby's trying really hard to keep them on track in order to figure out what the fuck they're hunting. The guys eventually get back on track and tell them, okay, we found out about another incident that happened at Crawford Hall. This one was an alien abduction.
Which I was all in. I was like, okay, aliens, obviously. I mean, there's nothing that's going to surprise me in the show at this point. So I was like, okay, aliens. Makes sense. Let's do it.
We see the guys in a bar. They're talking to this frat guy who's telling them the story of his alien abduction. And he apparently got probed over and over and over again.
His words.
Sam and Dean are not reacting very appropriately to this.
Mostly Sam, who I would have
Trying
thought.
not to laugh. It was so funny.
Yeah, which you would think it would have been Dean, but Sam. And again, I was like, when we watched the scene, I was like, is this supposed to be from one of their perspectives? Because Sam had to like turn his face and like chuckle, which I feel like isn't necessarily Sam. It would have been more Dean, and Dean was like straight face. So, but yeah, it was funny.
The alien also made him slow dance with him to a total banger called Lady in Red. It's my jam.
I also just kind of loved how willing he was like, all right, we're doing this. We're dancing, you know? How can you not dance, slow dance to that song?
We also see the guys on campus and they see this, basically it's like a crop circle. And as they're investigating, they're saying this was definitely something that was burned into the grass from a jet engine or something like that. So they're really confused at this point. We've got this ghost story over here. Couldn't find proof of that. Now we've got the alien abduction story, and we've got this weird crop circle thing that's proof of that. While they're on campus, they end up talking to a fraternity pledge who confesses that the guy who got abducted by aliens is a piece of shit. And I thought something of note was that he said, yeah, we heard what the aliens did to him. Now he knows how we feel, which we've all heard these horrifying hazing stories. We've got another victim, not a good guy. And the story we find out is being told from Dean's perspective at this point because of how Sam reacts. He says something along the lines of, hey, I know this had to have been hard for you. I'm so proud of you. You're so brave little soldier. And he hugs him in his arms.
His face is just like so,
you're too precious
poor
for
thing.
this world.
Yeah.
It cuts back to the motel room where yet again, Sam and Dean are bickering about their perspective on the story, making fun of each other. Sam says, I never said that. And Dean says, you always say stuff like that. They're also bickering about the laptop and bringing up the car again, talking about the connection between the victims is that they're both dicks. Just a lot of back and forth. But fortunately, Bobby is observant and he is picking up all this information, not just what they're telling him as far as things they've collected from cases, but he's also paying attention to Sam and Dean. The next thing that happened was a professor. I don't know if he was a professor, actually. We know he was an animal. What'd they call him?
He was a professor.
He
yeah.
was? Okay.
But I think he was like doing testing on animals or
yes,
something.
yes.
which I was like,
That's for sure.
okay,
He was
I'm fine if he goes.
Yeah. He's the next victim of whatever it is that they're hunting. They show him leaving Crawford Hall and he spots something shiny in the sewer grate. and he goes to reach for it. And I commented on, it was a fucking watch. Like, fuck that. Why would you do that? But LA commented on how if it's a Rolex, that you might be sticking your hand down there trying to get it.
Down there. You could buy like a condo somewhere for that much for just a watch.
I had no idea. I don't know shit about watches.
Crazy.
While his hand is down there, we start hearing growling, and then he's screaming and yelling, trying to get his hand out of there. It turns out it was an alligator in the sewer. We see Sam and Dean go to the morgue to check out the body, and it's literally just an arm and a leg in a bucket.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Like, or not a bucket. What is it? Like a box? Something like that. But they comment, you know, he experimented on animals. He was a dick, so it fits the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty fucking gory.
Yeah. It was gross.
We had to rewind it. We were like, is that an arm and a leg?
I was like,
you
I
were
saw
like, I saw
a
a hand. Yeah. Because I assumed it was just two legs.
Yeah,
but
that's, I did it first too. And then when they went to a different angle, I was like, oh, that's a hand.
Yeah. The guys comment that they searched the sewer trying to find the alligator, and they acknowledge that it's an old urban legend that somebody flushes a baby alligator down the toilet and then it ends up growing up to a full size and wandering the sewers and yada, yada, yada. Dean is climbing out of the sewer, so we're getting the story from his perspective. He moves the giant manhole cover aside and steam's coming out, and he climbs out and he turns the corner and he sees baby parked down an alleyway. All four tires. I almost said towers. Tires are flat.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a money clip on the ground, which he picks up, and it happens to be engraved with SW. And he just goes, Sam! He goes back.
Also, like, why would Sam slash all of his tires?
Right?
You know?
I mean, he did say whenever Dean was giving him a hard time for being upset about the computer, he did say, how mad would you be if somebody messed with the Impala? So I understand how that seed got planted.
It's very different.
But I don't think Sam would ever actually fuck with the Impala.
Right.
And that catches us basically up to when Bobby shows up at their door. They say, you showed up like an hour later. So that's why they were being so pissy with each other at the beginning of the episode. Bobby reveals that he's heard enough. He's got all the information he needs. And he knows that what they're dealing with is a trickster.
Bobby's like, you jackasses.
He says the biggest clue was the two of you. The fact that you guys are going at each other. It obviously knows who you are. It obviously knows it's on your that you're on its trail, and it's trying to throw you off by pinning the two of you against each other instead.
Classic.
Bobby has to school them on what a trickster is. They have, because they try to act like, oh yeah, okay, but what is it? It's cute. It's a cute little scene.
But once again, it's surrogate daddy. Mm-hmm. Bobby surrogate daddy.
He explains to them that it's more like a demigod, and that everything matches the pattern. They tend to go after the high and mighty.
They're not being great people.
It's like karma, kind of.
Yeah.
You know? They ask, what do tricksters normally look like? And Bobby says, like, typically they look like humans. And so Dean and Sam look at each other and think, okay, who do we know that's been at ground zero all along? The fucking hot, sexy janitor.
I don't think that's where their mind went.
It was. We cut to somebody sitting in a chair looking through freaking National Enquirer magazines, Star magazines. That's right. That's what we looked up. Right. That's the name.
Yeah.
Where they're seeing the ghost and aliens and alligator in the sewer. And he is just chuckling away, having a grand old time. And he calls his doggy over, says, hey, let's go get some food. And then he gets up and he shimmies his sweet little ass over to a table of like all these desserts.
And he's in silk boxers that you really liked.
Yes. Silk boxers, goes over his, like, I think he stuck his finger in like some whipped cream or something.
It was like a tower of just like treats and cakes. It was like something you'd see at like a wedding or a baby shower. It was just like tiers of things. Sweets.
All these sweets. And,
like, two ladies on either side of him in like lingerie.
He goes, something's missing. And all of a sudden these two women manifest and are standing aside him. So now LA.
Which, I mean, could you imagine if we could do that with the Winchester board?
Like, I hardly leave the house now if I had those skills.
I would never leave ever. What's the fucking point?
I wouldn't even need a job. I just be like,
Yeah. If I could manifest the two of them to me all the time, man.
All right, I told you I wrote a tongue twister in honor of
Oh.
Janitor.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
So are you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many tricks could a trickster turn if a trickster could turn tricks?
How many tricks could a trickster turn if a trickster could turn tricks?
Now say it fast.
Fuck no, I can't. Not right now.
How many tricks could a trickster turn if a trickster could turn tricks?
Look at you.
Ooh, cheers.
Yes. Good for you. How many tricks could a trickster turn?
You can't do it under your breath.
Yeah,
You're gonna
I
do
still
it.
failed. I still failed. So exactly my point of not doing it.
So we have our culprit.
Yes.
They know who they're hunting now. At some point they figure out how to kill it, which is these giant fucking wooden stakes that look like they've been dipped in something. Like the
It
tip,
almost like the tip has been like burned a little.
something
Or
burned or dipped
oil,
in something.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
who knows? That scene got cut apparently because they did not explain it. But they're going after him. They have this whole big plan where they go to Crawford Hall and they're telling the janitor they need to take a look at something again. And they fake this fight scene so the janitor thinks that he's dealing with Justine. The janitor tries to seduce Dean with some of his illusions. He tells Dean, I really like you guys. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to fight you guys. You know, just hang out here, have fun with these illusions. Let me, fuck off to the next town. Let's just call it square. But Dean says, I can't do that. I can't let you keep hurting people. And as he's saying that, the trickster realizes that Dean's not alone. Sam and Bobby have come in for backup, and they've got massive wooden stakes as well. The trickster creates like a Jason type figure that has a giant fucking chainsaw. So Sam and Bobby are fighting them. And the two ladies that he created to distract Dean end up kicking Dean's ass. But they do throw him right at the trickster's feet. And Sam happens to drop his wooden stake right near Dean. So Dean is able to grab it and stake the trickster right in his heart before the trickster can hurt him. Did not like it. They're leaving the scene of the crime. Bobby says, we got to get the fuck out of here before somebody finds that body. They're getting in the Impala, and Sam and Dean have their little makeup moment where they're like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything. And they're like, yeah, me too. And then Bobby pops out of the Impala and says, you guys are breaking my heart. Could we please just leave? They get in the car and drive away. And fortunately, we cut back to inside Crawford Hall. We see the body of the trickster sitting in the auditorium. And then some mysterious pert little ass appears on screen in a janitor outfit from the back as the trickster's body eviscerates into nothingness. And we see that the trickster is alive and well. He lives to see another day. All right. So gore, literally the only gory thing was the leg and the arm.
Yeah.
In the tub this episode. And it wasn't even that bad. It was just, damn, that guy got fucked up.
Right.
So what did you adore about this episode?
I thought it was hilarious, the two views of the brothers, the different views of each other. And I mean, it's probably for everybody, like in a friendship or relationship or whatever, but it was just the stark difference in their views of what happened and what went down with each other and the different scenarios. Like, it was so funny, especially more so Sam's view of Dean, more so than Dean's of Sam. Although the one that was so funny of Dean's was when he was like, you're so strong.
You're too precious.
And then, yeah. And Dean was like, oh, you always say pansy stuff like that.
You did like it at the bar whenever it was like, what are you doing? You liked that impression
Oh
of Sam
my God,
as well.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, what I adored about this episode was Richard Spade Jr.
Oh, I know.
I adore him. His little compact body. I did enjoy the bickering and the different perspectives as well, though.
It was cute. It was
really
funny.
cute.
I don't think I've laughed more in an episode than this.
Same. We were cackling.
Yeah.
It was so good. 10 out of 10. It was so good all around.
Yeah.
I enjoyed all of it. All right. So on to the lore. What do you have for us today, LA?
Well, as Bobby mentioned, they were dealing with tricksters. And tricksters are not something that's uncommon in our history. Well, some of us anyway. They are among one of the most entertaining characters in our world mythology. They are usually male. They delight in breaking rules, boasting, playing tricks on both humans and gods, which that was one thing I was curious about in this. So he was supposed to be like a demigod, right?
Yeah, Bobby said more like a demigod. He mentioned Loki for sure, like,
Right.
because I know that name. I remembered that name. He mentioned somebody else that I think he said was from Africa. So he said there's a variety of them in the lore.
Yes, which I found. We know Loki. We know. I think that I touch on some other ones later on that we kind of somewhat know. But I picked these two that I didn't know much about. Others may know. Most tricksters are shape changers, and they could take any form, but a lot of times they appear as animals. Tricksters play a prominent role in African American and Native American mythologies. They can be found in myths also from Europeans, Asians, Pacific Islanders, and the Aborigines of Australia. Many of them are really gods, demigods, and heroes from around the world, and they obviously have characteristics of tricksters and the qualities of those. Eschu, which is Eshu, is from African mythology, and they are a trickster hare, and it appears in some myths and tales as a trickster spider called Anansi. It's Anansi, I think.
Yeah, that's what Bobby said.
Yeah, Anansi. And it's widespread throughout West Africa. And Anansi is a cunning fellow who acts as a god's assistant, but sometimes the stories reveal him trying to trick his actual god. Occasionally, the trickster himself falls victim to a trick. One myth about Anansi tells how he cheated the chameleon out of his field, and for revenge, the chameleon created a fine cloak of vines decorated with buzzing flies, and everyone wanted the cloak. But chameleon would not sell it to anyone but only to the spider. And the price was he merely had to give a little food, just enough to fill the tiny hole that he created in his storehouse. So the spider agreed and went and sent 2 of his children with grain. But it turned out that the chameleon had secretly dug the deepest hole that anyone had ever seen underneath the little tiny hole that they could see. So Ananasi's children poured the grain into the hole for weeks and weeks, and it still wasn't full. And the chameleon ended up with most of the spider's wealth, and Ananasi received only a few withered vines for his part of the bargain and fled from the mocking people that just, like, he was a joke, you know. According to the myth, this explains why spiders hide in corners of houses now, because they were made a mockery, I guess, from this little myth.
Aww,
Or myth or history, I guess. I don't want to discount
lore.
it. Yeah. Now, with Native American, the tricksters prominently in their mythologies took form of animals, although they also have some human qualities and appear if it suits their purposes, whether it be human, animal. But the majority, they were coyotes, ravens, crows, blue jays, rabbits, spiders or raccoons, bears, and they often appear in a lot of different Native American tribes. This was a tribe I'd never heard of. I'm sure there's so many I've never heard of because I'm ignorant, but
yeah,
this was a myth of the Coeur d'Alene. It sounds very French to me.
it looks French. I'm looking at your notes.
So, but this article said the Coeur d'Alene, their people illustrates the sly and bumbling side of the coyote. The first people selected the coyote as their moon, but when they learned that he spied upon them from the sky and told their secrets, they replaced him with a chieftain who turned the tables by keeping watch on the coyote itself. Because the sun had killed some of the coyote's children, the trickster cut out the sun's heart, plunging the world into darkness, which would be night, I would assume, since they took out the sun's heart. The coyote wanted to take the heart home with him, but he kept stumbling into the dark, couldn't get to it, And in the end, he had to return the heart to the sun, which restored the light to the world. But I also think like that there has to be more to that story to think that's what created in their culture the sun, daytime, and the night.
Day and night.
Yeah, you know?
Day and night.
Day and night.
Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
Coeur d'Alene. I was saying Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene. Okay. It sounds very French.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
probably just us being ignorant again, though.
Probably.
We
Again,
we
yeah.
see like an
Well, and
apostrophe
think
in the
about
middle of a word, and we're like,
Native
ooh.
Americans were around a lot longer than the
Than the
French.
French, yeah.
So, which this article didn't say much more about that, but like just my impression of reading that, I'm like, that's in their Native American culture. Probably is what created sun,
Like the Cliff's Notes version.
yeah, sun and the moon, and night and day, and which I love. Anyway. There were also the myths of the Algonquian speaking people up in more, I think, Canadian territory. And they had a trickster named Glooskap. And Glooskap lived in the cold north. And during a journey to the warmth of the south, he tricked Summer, a beautiful female chieftain, into returning north with him. And after she melted the cold of winter, Glooskap let her return home. So I think it's so crazy to me. I think both of these were more so like creating day and night.
Seasons,
Yeah.
day and night. What
And the
have
other
you.
ones were more definitely tricksters playing on people and animals.
Yeah.
And then this article also mentioned like Maui of the Hawaiian culture as a trickster, Prometheus in the Greek culture. And I think a lot of people, I assume, maybe it's stupid of me to assume, but Loki in Norse mythology just because the Marvel character. Loki.
Yeah. I would think that he's become more mainstream as far as
Right.
people's knowledge.
But he really does come from somewhere as far as mythology and history, which I love. And so some scholars have suggested that the trickster is one of the oldest figures in mythology.
He said he's very, in the episode, Sexy Janitor was like, I'm very old. I've been, or some, he said something about how I'm very old. I've been around for a really long time
There you
or
go.
something like that.
There you go.
Look at that.
So you don't know. I mean, I wonder if he's really a form of one of these or something that from like real mythology later on down the line. Yeah. Okay. Don't tell me. Anywho, I'm gonna start back to where I was saying. What is the? A lot of scholars have suggested that the trickster is one of the oldest figures in mythology. A chaotic and disorderly character that acts out many urges and desires that people living in communities learn to control and maintain social order, but that we have underlying, that he allows that to come out. And the trickster myths, especially those in which the trickster's deeds backfire against him in some way, may have developed from the teachings of a moral lesson about the penalties of misbehavior. I could say a lot about this and we could go like deep diving into it, but I don't know. It's clearly based, like, that's the thing that gets me in all these mythologies, all these religions. It's like, it's all so similar. It's like the good and the bad. Always.
I'm so happy we decided that we were going to research the lore at the end of each episode and just kind of Google, is this true? What could be true about it?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we know like that it's not necessarily true, but just the actual mythology to it.
Well, I love mythologies. I love conspiracies. Like, I love it
That's
all.
why we decided to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of it we've touched on already, but some of it I would like love to go back into that and do more in depth.
Or some of it we're going to be revisiting in later episodes. I can tell you that right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because there's going to be repetitiveness.
Well, we've
already had
yeah.
repetitiveness. Yeah.
So,
well, to close it out, I have a quote from the trickster himself. When Sam and Dean had figured out who the culprit was and went back to Crawford Hall, they were walking up the stairs and the trickster said, "Sorry, I'm dragging a little ass today, boys. Had quite the night last night. Lots of sex, if you catch my drift."
cheers.
Cheers.
I'm jealous.
Right? Thank you for listening to Denim Wrapped Nightmares.
Follow us on Twitter or Instagram, leave a review, and let us know how we can get involved in the fandom.
This was fun. Jerk.
It always is, bitch.